Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here in Central Florida. We're actually in Inverness here at my buddy Chris Kingree's place. He's the owner of 44 Tackle. We got these guys in the background. You probably can't see them, but we got Tyler Williams over there, new Elite Series Pro. He's about to choke on a pancake sandwich he's got over there. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And we got Donovan over here killing it on the wrap. This side obviously isn't wrapped yet. But anyways, we are going to go ahead and go through my rod order for Fitzgerald Fishing for 2024. That's one of the best parts about having an event to start off the year in Florida, because I can go over to Fitzgerald Fishing, pick up my rods for the year. But this year I've got a bunch of rods, and they're not necessarily representative of all the rods that I use throughout a season, but they're kind of rods that kind of are filling some gaps, or they're rods that I just, I use that series a lot, and so I want some extras. So I'm going to be carrying a lot more than just these, but these are the ones that I wanted to order for 2024. So let's get right into it. I think there's 9 rods overall, new, like actual, individual SKUs that we're going to be talking about. But I probably ordered like 3 or 4 of a lot of them. But the first one that I picked up, and this is in no particular order, as you'll find out throughout this video, but this is actually a really good one to start with. This is the 7.3 medium heavy Versa series rods. So the ones that have this silver finish on it, this is the Versa series. The 7.3 is my most used rod of all time. I have more of these. I've probably got like 15 of these, because I use these like crazy. And I primarily use them for reaction style baits. So things like chatter baits, spinner baits, swim jigs, top water, like walking baits, whopper ploppers, small and medium whopper ploppers, buzz baits, all that different stuff, especially if it's a reaction bait that has a single hook. This is a really good rod. It's a 100% graphite, and a lot of people like parabolic bend rods for reaction baits. I'm just not that guy for most reaction baits. Now, deep diving crankbaits and in some treble hook baits, different story. But for the most part, I like having the nice, solid backbone that this has. But the great thing about the Versa Series 7.3 medium heavy is the fact that it's got a little bit more of a tip to it. So it actually casts really well. It loads up really good on the cast, but it still has that good solid backbone, so I can like lead fish away from cover and get good solid hook sets. So this is just an overall awesome rod for reaction baits, and it's one I use a ton, if you guys have seen these videos before. So that's a good one to start with. What do we got here? Oh, this is another good one to start with. So we're down here for the Okobi Open. This right here is the Okobi rod. All right. And it is aptly named because it is my favorite overall, heavy vegetation rod. So whatever I'm fishing in heavy grass, this is a really good one for. So throwing like a turbo fatties, making long casts with a toad, or like some type of swim bait that's designed for fishing around grass, or flipping and pitching, doing a little bit of kind of moderate weight punching, like 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce. All that stuff works great with it, but probably my favorite thing that I like to throw with the Okobi rod is frogs over matted grass. This is a really, really good one for that, because it's got a real solid backbone, but I want a rod that can launch those frogs over long distances, and this rod does that very well because it has a little bit of a flexible tip to allow you to make those long casts. It's not just a broomstick. So really good rod for all of those things that I just talked about. But if you live around a grass lake, whether that's down south or up north, you've got to try the Okobi rod. And again, actually not again, I haven't mentioned it, but all of these rods are going to be in the description below. So if you're interested in buying these rods, you can go to the affiliate links that I've got in the description below and order them that way. And it's also a great way to support the channel by using those links as well. So go check out those links if you're interested in any of these that I'm talking about. All right, the next one, this is kind of the opposite extreme of the Okobi rod. This is the 6.9 medium action Versa Series spinning rod. This is actually admittedly one that I don't use a lot. I'm a power fisherman. I don't like to use a lot of real light you know, finessey tackle that much. But the other day I was looking for, you know, another one of these 6.9s to fish a couple Ned rigs with, and I didn't have as many as I'd like. So I ordered one of these. Really good rod for, you know, finesse applications like Demiki rig, Ned Miki, the Ned rig, fishing a small swim bait, things like that. You know, the 6.9 is a really, really good one. But I usually kind of tend to go with the 6.10 medium heavy just because I'm kind of a bull in a china shop the way I fish. So, all right, moving on. Ooh, another really, really good one that's going to get a lot of use this week. This is the 7.6 heavy action all-purpose series rod. And this one right here is my all-time favorite flipping stick. So back in the day, I used to have some really big favorite rods that I used to use, you know, back way before I worked with Fitzgerald, way before Fitzgerald was even a thing. I had some Shimano rods that were really good flipping pitching rods, and there was one from Quantum, the Quantum Tour Edition that I really, really liked from them. And I was really bummed when those left. Whenever you have like a rod that you really like for a certain thing and they stop making it, it's kind of a bummer. But Fitzgerald came out with the 7.6 all-purpose series rod, and this is by far my favorite of all time. It's really good for moderate to semi-heavy flipping and pitching, so like flipping around reeds, isolated patches of grass, doing a little bit of light punching. It's not a great, you know, heavy punching rod, although you can use it that way. You know, so anytime I'm flipping and pitching, you know, isolated or clumped up vegetation, that's what I'm going to be using it for. It's just a really comfortable rod to flip and pitch with all day. I love the guide train on it. I love the handle, which is really important when you're flipping and pitching. You got a lot of wrist movement, and the handle, it feels really good. It feels like a light rod. It's not overpowering. It's got a good balance to it. It's just, dude, it is my favorite, you know, overall flipping and pitching rod. So the 7.9 or 7.6 heavy action all-purpose series, I got several of those, and I'm definitely going to be using a lot of them this week. I mean, I've never broke one, but the ones that I've got that I've been using over the years, they get so much use that they look like I drag them behind the truck. So I'm glad to have some new ones. But the next one is also an all-purpose series, but it's actually a sub-series of the all-purpose, the composite series that Fitzgerald came out with. So it's a composite rod, got a little bit more parabolic bend to it. You know, I mentioned that the 7.3 medium heavy Versa is kind of my favorite reaction bait rod. It's not for all reaction baits, but for things like deep diving crankbaits and you know, throw in some square bills. I do like the 7.3 medium heavy Versa for a lot of square bills and shallow divers and lipless crankbaits. But sometimes you want a more parabolic bend, and especially for deeper diving crankbaits and you know, any of those treble hook baits in general work really well with a composite rod. And this is the 6.8 medium heavy. This is one, I rarely go below a 7-foot rod, to be completely honest. But the 6.8 really, you know, I was thinking forward to events like Santee Cooper, where we're gonna be fishing around real tight, you know, quarters, you know, cypress trees, things like that. I wanted a rod that was really nimble, really accurate, and was perfect for like a square bill or something like that. And a 7.8 or a 6.8 medium heavy composite sounded really, really good. So looking forward to fishing with this one. I have not used it before, so I'm going to be interested to see how it does, but I primarily got this for my my square bill fishing, you know, around tight quarters. So we'll see how that does. The next one, what we got here? All right, we got another one in the Versa series. This is another one. This is the 7.3 heavy action. This is going to be one that essentially all the things that I listed before for the 7.3 medium heavy, if you go up in size and you get a bigger bait, you know, maybe it's a bigger walking Zara spook style bait or a bigger whopper plopper or you're using bigger reaction baits in general, this is the one that I like to use. It's also a really good open water frog rod. So for popping frogs and walking frogs and slightly open water, it's got just the right amount of tip to be able to make accurate skipping casts under things. But you also have a really, really stout backbone to get good hook sets with those big hooks and around big covers. So the 7.3 heavy is a good complement to the 7.3 medium heavy. All right, and then we get into this another all-purpose series rod. This is the 7.3 heavy, so very similar to the one we just showed. The reason why I like the 7.3 heavy all-purpose series is I feel like this is become my favorite open water frog rod. I know I said I use a 7.3 heavy Versa series for that, but I tend to use this one a little bit more. This is a really good one for popping frogs, especially when you get a little bit more cover, like maybe you're fishing around hydrilla mats or something like that, not like really dense hydrilla mats. That's for the Okobi rod. But like, where the grass is just starting to grow up to the surface a little bit. It's not super thick yet. Or fishing around like duckweed or something like that. The 7.3 heavy is really good for popping and walking frogs, but it's also my favorite for flipping and pitching smaller jigs. Because I feel like finesse jigs like the Z-Man Power Finesse Jig do not do well with longer flip and stick style rods. This one actually works really, really well with those smaller jigs. You can be really accurate and just not overpowering those baits. All right, the next one, this is actually one I'm really excited about because I've never fished this one, and it's part of the Bryan Schmitt series of Fitzgerald rod series. And Bryan put this in my hand at iCast last year, and I was really impressed with it. So this is the Carolina rig rod, is what they call it, 7.5 heavy action rod, and or heavy power rod. And this rod, although they call it the Carolina rig rod, I think that I like it for a lot of different situations. That's the thing I liked about it when I picked it up, was that I see it as a nice, flipping and pitching rod, nice Carolina rig rod, obviously, big football jigs, things like that, but also, fishing, frogs over heavier vegetation, throwing things like the turbo fatties or toads or grass kicker style baits. This is going to be a really good rod for all those, I think. But I'm really excited about this one. I think that there is definitely a little bit of a gap. Usually companies go from 7.3 length rods to like 7.6, but I think that there's definitely some need for like a 7.5, and so I'm really excited about that. All right, the last one, last SKU that I ordered is another composite all-purpose series rod. This is the 7-foot heavy action one. Now, admittedly, I really don't know where I'm gonna, fit this into my arsenal yet. I think it's gonna be a really good one for kind of those moderate depth, deep diving crankbaits. So like Series 5 Strike Kings, maybe a 6XD, even though I like the 7.3 heavy action for that. So I'm gonna figure out which crankbaits I'm gonna use with this, but this is primarily for, moderate to deep diving crankbaits. This is not going to be a good one for those smaller crankbaits, just because I think it's a little bit overpowering for them, but a good, moderate bodied size bait that dives, moderate to deep. I think that the 7-footer is going to work really well. So anyways, guys, that is what I ordered this year from Fitzgerald. I think it is a really good mix of rods that I think I'm going to use for a lot of different things. And I'm really excited about some of these that I haven't used before and trying them out and finding new applications for them. So let me know what you think about my selection this year. Is there anything that I should have added to the list? And also I want to hear your questions that you have about the rods that I chose, or any Fitzgerald rod. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you use those affiliate links in the description below if you decide to buy any of these products. Other than that, I'm going to see you out on the water. Trust the process.